Welcome back to Open Line. Tonight we've been having a great discussion about Representative Mark Pody's introduction of the Natural Marriage Defense Act. And I want to ask you, where do things stand right now? What are the next steps that will be taken?
Sure. All right, so we've already introduced the bill. We've had our first reading and second reading last week. So now it's been assigned to committee, and it'll go to Civil Justice Subcommittee tomorrow. And so we'll be hearing this bill at 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. So it'll be debated one way or the other, you know, if the committee members like it or they don't like it.
Okay, so still a long way to go here.
We have months before this would actually go into effect or whatever. I've got many committees to go through.
What do you think your chances are?
I know that we're going to have to deal with the fiscal note, and an $8.5 billion fiscal note is absolutely huge. So that's got to be addressed, and that's going to be my biggest hurdle, is I have to address that fiscal note. I'm an extreme fiscal conservative. I'm not going to spend money that we don't have. So that's going to be down the road when I get to the fiscal committee. They are a very tough committee, and I will tell you that we have something good in Tennessee is we don't pass laws if we can't pay for them, and which keeps us in strong financial shape. So that'll be a hurdle that I'm going to have to handle.
Okay, let's go to the lines real quick. We have Emma on the line joining us. Emma, thank you for being with us tonight. What's your question or comment?
My comment is that, you know, Christian businesses, small owners, should not have to do work or whatever it is for homosexuals if they choose not to do that. I mean, Christians have their own beliefs and the homosexuals have their own beliefs, and if we go into a bakery and say we want 2 men or 2 women put on a cake, we should have our own right to be able to say whether we want to do that or not. They can go someplace else and have that done. I mean, that's just forcing us to do something that is totally against our religion.
Emma, are you a small business owner?
No, I'm not. I'm just a Christian, and I'm proud to say I am.
Okay, thank you for calling in, Emma. Let's talk about this issue, because there have been lawsuits brought against bakeries and so forth, so on, especially when it comes to the wedding business of photography, that sort of thing.
Yes.
What are your thoughts, Abby? I mean, I think you spoke to this a little bit already, saying we should not be forcing people to do something they don't want.
Yeah, well, we already have non-discrimination laws in this country that small businesses are usually exempt from those kind of laws. If you have less than 7 employees, like, you're not covered by the Tennessee non-discrimination law. If you have less than 15, you're not covered by the federal law. So there are some protections in place for small businesses. But my question for the caller is, she's making a presumption that all homosexuals, as she calls us, are not Christian. I think there's a lot of Christian gay people, and I think she's also, I don't know, to me, I agree with her. If a business doesn't want my business, I don't want to go there. Why do I want to give them money? So
Sure.
I think if people in the gay community know that a particular florist or whatever doesn't believe in that, doesn't want to do that, like, why would they go to them? I don't think people will, but I think there's already protections in the law for smaller businesses. I mean, I agree with her. People, I have a small business, and if I don't want to serve somebody, if I don't want to take on a client, I shouldn't have to. Yeah,
you have that right.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with a real small business about that, but, you know, I guess I would look beyond that, like, why does it matter? I mean, my money's as good as anybody else's, and it's not her saying she's going to go marry another woman. You know, it's not. I don't understand the reasoning.
Representative, your thoughts on that?
Yes, I believe in Tennessee we have a opportunity where we don't have individuals. We only have certain classes of individuals that we would consider that if we don't serve them or we don't do something with them equally to everybody else, it'd be discrimination. And people of same-sex marriages is not a protected class at this point. And like in Oregon, I believe that they passed a law where it would be a protected class, where Tennessee wouldn't. So the individuals that got sued in the Northeast, it was because of their state laws that allowed that to happen. Where in Tennessee, I don't think that, no matter what size the business is, I don't think that they have that option here.
Let's go back to the lines. Regina's been holding for quite a while. Regina, thank you for being with us. Go ahead with your comment or your question.
Well, first of all, I would like to thank all of you for taking out the time to on this cold night.
Well, thank you for being with us.
I'm totally in agreement with the representatives you have on platform as far as fighting the Supreme Court. I just have a problem with people setting laws for everybody. People do things, have I would say their opinion is personal, and it shouldn't be. And my question to the attorney is, this is something I've been trying to get answered just for me. What you do behind closed doors, I don't have to accept. That's just like what I do in my house. I don't put it out there for my neighbor or the next person to accept. And I say that because I say that to say this. With your homosexuality or gay people, whatever you all want to call it, why is it that you're putting it out there for people to swallow? You have people that are opposed to that. You have people that is okay with that. So again, what you do behind your doors is your business. I don't have to accept it. So don't think that because you are gay or homosexual, whatever it is, the nation have to accept that.
All right, let's ask Abby about that, because I'm certain that you have heard this before, Abby.
Well, more than 50% of the people in this country support same-sex marriage anyway, so I don't.
I know, sometimes it's hard to reply.
It's hard to put into words, but we didn't pass a law making this be an issue. People against gay people passed this law saying you can't get married. We're not the ones making it an issue. To me, I'm an American. I'm entitled to all the same rights and privileges as any other American, and if this lady doesn't believe in same-sex marriage, then she doesn't have to marry a woman. But I really do not see how my marriage to my spouse affects her in any way. It doesn't. I don't even know her. The fact that I'm married to someone doesn't do anything to her, and she's entitled to have her religious beliefs, as am I, but I don't think that she speaks for everyone. She speaks for herself, and I respect that. She's entitled to those beliefs, but I'm entitled to be who I am, and I don't have to hide it. I'm not breaking a law. I'm being who I am, and I'm entitled to get married the same as you are, the same as you are, the same as anyone else is. I'm entitled to marry the person I love, and she doesn't understand what we're doing. I don't understand why it's an issue, because we're talking about civil marriage. We're talking about benefits the state gives to people, and what the Supreme Court of the United States has said, you can't give some benefits to these people and not to these other people without a rational basis, and there's no rational basis to make that distinction.
Representative, I know you want to jump in here.
Oh, I absolutely do. And people have said, Mark, how does that affect you? And why is this important to you? And it is strongly important to me. Because then if we allow this, that means that the public schools, when it comes to marriage, it's going to be saying that this is okay. And the government has said this is okay. It's going to be taught that you can marry anybody anytime that you want. My deeply held religious beliefs, deeply held, and I teach my children and my grandchildren, this is not okay. And for me to then have to go, well, you got to go to school and say that it is okay, and then they come back to me and they say, well, Dad, that's what they're teaching in school, and I'm now saying, I don't care what they're teaching in school. It is wrong. It is biblically wrong, and I'm not going to hold to it.
Let me play devil's advocate here. There are a lot of things taught in school that families on a personal level would say, that is not what we believe, especially as Christians when you get to the evolution debate. That's taught in schools?
You're exactly right. And that's why I'm here, because I don't want to add one more thing to it. And anytime that I can, I want to say no. I want to say no. I want to say, this is who we are, this is what I believe, and over 81% of the people have agreed that this is what we believe. And that's why I'm so strongly saying that even in my religious beliefs, this is wrong. Now, we mentioned, Abby, you mentioned both the Constitution and the separation of state. I've got it right here, the Article 1, and I got our Tennessee Constitution, where it both talks about the separation or what religion is allowed and what the government can do. And nowhere is it saying that they should be separated. It just says government should not dictate what religion is or any form of that religion. But nowhere does it say that religion should not be back in government.
But that's exactly the point I'm making. I agree to a certain extent with what he's saying. He's saying the reason he's against same-sex marriage, he doesn't want it to happen, he doesn't want kids to be taught that that's okay in a civil context, is because of his religious beliefs. Well, why does he get to impose his religious beliefs that I don't share on me or on my children or on anybody else? That is the government imposing religious beliefs on people, and that is prohibited by the Constitution.
Representative?
So in Tennessee, we had over 81% of the people saying that this is what we want and this is what we believe. And we put it in our Constitution, so it says this is how we're going to operate. Now, I will tell you that if Tennessee, there are other states that have said same-sex marriage is okay, and if I was living in one of those states, then I couldn't argue, because it would have been a states' rights issue. I would have been upset. I would not have agreed with the ruling, but I would have had to say, you know what, that's what the state said, and I'm going to have to go along with it. Tennessee did not say that, and I do not see where the federal government had the right, based on how I understand the Constitution, and I'm just a regular person. I believe that the Constitution was written for people like me that can just read it and believe the words that it says. And I don't see where the Constitution can be overridden by people when it says it's not the Supreme Court that is the supreme ruler. It says the Constitution is, and the Supreme Court is only supposed to enforce the Constitution and interpret that, not make laws.
And that's why this, and you have to know this, if this bill passes, there will be a legal drama that plays out with it.
Absolutely.
You have to know that.
Absolutely.
And that's what
I
the heart of
guarantee
it.
you that.
And we're anticipating that. We are absolutely anticipating that.
Okay, we're going to take another quick break. When we come back, more of your calls and questions and more topics. Stay with us.